Good afternoon and welcome to SAIT Newsfile. I'm Irene Tagama. Spencer Milky will have a look at all the latest highlights in sports later in the show. What can we expect, Spencer?
Well, there was a squash tournament down at Bow Valley Square, as well as we'll take a deep dive into our Trojans.
Wow. Meanwhile, Alex McLeod is chilling outside, surprisingly. And so, Alex, how's it going over there?
Well, Irene, it was a pretty mild day here in Calgary with a high of -4 degrees. That is a little bit colder than what we experienced last year with a high of 0 degrees. But I will say it is way better than what we experienced in 1923 with a high of -40 degrees. But I'm really hoping that later in the week we jump back up to that weather that we had in 1916 of 12 degrees. We'll take a look at the rest of the province and your 5-day forecast later in the show. Irene?
Thank you, Alex. Now here's a look at today's top stories. Early morning, the police responded to a break-in and enter in the Franklin Industrial Park just north of Memorial Drive. Keith Driver joins us from the scene. What have you heard so far, Keith?
So far, I haven't heard much, and where I'm standing right now is in the Franklin Industrial Park, which is only 4 blocks away from the Franklin LRT station and only 20 minutes away from the Marlborough station.
When officers arrived to the scene, police conducted a search of the vacant commercial building. Not long after, an armed altercation between police and the suspect occurred, resulting in an officer being injured and another officer discharging their firearm. EMS later were on the scene and declared the suspect deceased, and the injured officer was treated and is in stable condition. Nearby business owner says the area is no stranger to crime.
My cash register stolen, break in, they simple little thing, they take away the popping can with the money. I have to chase the guy to get it back. Right, so that's why I put in camera now.
The event took place less than 12 hours before the Calgary Police Chief and the province announced their new sheriff program to patrol the inner downtown core.
And this morning was another example of that. I think we certainly have seen one thing, and that is after the pandemic, we saw maybe some questioning of institutions and certainly a reduction in the amount of respect for law enforcement.
We'll soon be seeing sheriffs soon patrolling the downtown core. And as for the investigation itself, it has been handed over to the Alberta Serious Response Team. And at time, we have no new information. Back to you, Irene.
That was Keith Driver reporting live from the Franklin Industrial Park. Thank you, Keith. A garage in Auburn Bay got destroyed by fire this morning. Firefighters made sure the fire didn't destroy the homes within the community. The fire was fueled by combustible gas, and 11 crews responded to the community early in the morning. Officials say one of the combustible gas cylinders fueled the fire further. No injuries were reported, and the people who live on the property where the fire began were safe. Edmonton police found the death of a 5-week-old baby rather suspicious. Officials say an autopsy was conducted in February 9th, but the cause and the manner of the death are still pending. The child was taken by EMS to Stollery Children's Hospital on February 5th on intensive care unit before it died on February 8th. EPS has not said the reason why they found the death suspicious. Anyone with the information about the child's death is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. Alberta has announced a pilot project to address public safety in downtown Calgary. The pilot program includes Alberta sheriffs patrolling the streets and C-train platforms, Premier Danielle Smith said on her announcement last Thursday. Officials say that the program is the city's first step to their commitment to public safety. Officials also say how there has been a feeling of uneasiness in the public spaces around the downtown area and the transit area.
To train and get police officers out onto the street, and so that's not something that happens overnight. And so sometimes, like there's great relationships between enforcement authorities around the province, and so
In Edmonton, the province announced a 15-week pilot project where sheriffs will patrol the downtown streets. As we head into spring, many people are getting out with their pets again. Dog parks like in the Roxborough are especially busy. Many owners enjoy the scenery, but this recent sign is leaving some worried. There was no other information left, so it could just be a cruel hoax. Vets say it's rare for dogs to be poisoned, but owners are on high alert.
My dog is pretty good, so he doesn't chew on too many things. But I think for puppies and dogs that aren't trained as good, maybe for them it would be a bit more difficult.
If you notice anything odd around the park, you are asked to contact the police. The idea of a new Calgary event center was back before the City Council today, but no one was saying what was up for the discussion. Council moved the meetings behind closed doors. As Will Manzik reports, Calgarians will have to wait to find out what the latest ideas are.
You know, there's a lot of people who, a lot of performers that won't come to Calgary because of the Saddle Dome.
The Saddle Dome was built 40 years ago, just in time to host the 1988 Winter Olympic skating events. Since then, the iconic building has gone through a lot of upgrades, but many people want to see the Saddle Dome replaced with a new state-of-the-art facility that would attract big-name acts.
Perhaps future all-star games and just a more appealing thing for music performances.
Calgary has already seen acts like Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, Ed Sheeran, and Guns N' Roses all choose to go to Edmonton, which has the new Rogers Place Arena. One of the bigger performances to come through Alberta in the summer was the Motley Crue Def Leppard concert, which was only performed in Edmonton, not to mention that the Junos are also being hosted there. The city and the province are floating the idea of a new event center again, and it was on the agenda at City Hall today. But the meetings took place behind closed doors, and when Mayor Jody Gondek emerged from the meeting, she told reporters there would be no disclosure of the details, at least for now.
I think so, yes, in my opinion. I know there's a lot going on with city council meetings and stuff like that. After the first deal sunk, there wasn't a lot of information out at that point.
Calgary has also seen a new professional hockey team make its way to the city, and that's the Calgary Wranglers of the AHL. The Hitmen have also started to play some of their home games at the Seven Chiefs Sports Complex. With 4 professional teams playing on the Saddle Dome, the wear and tear is becoming more and more apparent.
For now, the Flames, Wranglers, and Hitmen will continue to call the Saddle Dome home. As for the rest of Calgary, they are left here in the dark, wondering when a brand new event center will actually come to Calgary. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Will Manzik.
No family doctors were taking new patients in the Red Deer community, Alberta NDP suggests. The city currently has been dealing with long walk-in clinics with an average of 71 minutes of wait times to see a family doctor. According to a recent article, 3 Red Deer family doctors are retiring in the next 6 months, with 5 to 6 more planning to retire in the next 2 years. NDP Red Deer North candidate Jaylin Tweedle says the UCP should shift their focus on spending more time in Red Deer addressing the healthcare crisis. The province is looking to make it easier to bring nurses to Alberta and help alleviate some of the strain on the overburdened healthcare system. Millions of dollars are being pledged and in allowing international educated nurses to transition by offering them a bursary to help with the everyday costs, including tuition. But is it enough to help in a field that's already in crisis? DJ Todd reports.
The Alberta government has revealed more details of its plan to deal with the current nurse shortage in Alberta. The province is investing more than $15 million to help train and support more international nurses.
We need their skills urgently, and we are committed to investing in these programs to remove the barriers that they face.
The plan was initially announced back in October and will include $7.8 million, allowing students to access up to $30,000 in bursaries. The remainder of the funds will create 600 new seats in nurse bridging programs across Bow Valley College, Mount Royal University, and Norquest College in Edmonton. For international nurses like Uchi Nichi, who came to Calgary all the way from Nigeria and had to wait 5 years just to resume her career in nursing in Alberta, wait times to get in these programs make it hard to live.
At some point, you have to think about, okay, I really wanted this, but I mean, it's all about balancing life and family and the school.
Bursary recipients are required to complete a year in nursing service in Alberta for every $6,000 received from the government, starting in the 2023 academic year. Alberta's advanced education minister is confident in the province's plans moving forward to resolve current issues.
Alberta has the best frontline health care workers in the world, and we are working to have the right supports in place to ensure Albertans can get the care they need when and where they need it.
Any internationally educated nurses that currently live in the province that are already in one of the bridge programs are eligible for a minimum of $8,000, regardless of if they're receiving any aid or funding already. From SAIT Newsfile, I'm DJ Todd.
Drinking water for cities are protected thanks to the Southern Alberta ranchers with their conservation project. The Southern Alberta Land Trust Society, a rancher-led conservation organization, says the conservation easements will protect about 27 kilometers of the land area. The project received money from the provincial and federal governments, as well as $1 million from the Calgary Foundation. Love is in the air, and Cupid shot his arrow and it landed right here in Calgary. Many people are doing something special for their someone special. Katie Rebagliati reports how local businesses are helping making things happen in the market.
Welcome home. What took you so long? Every single Wednesday, Rumble House hosts an open house auction for their community to auction off their artwork. Beginner or experienced, Rumble House invites artists.
February 14th has always been one of those special days you put a heart around your calendar in. In Calgary, many companies are hosting special events or doing something special, so that sweethearts can have an even a sweeter day. With flowers and chocolate always being a Valentine's Day classic, specialty chocolate businesses are seeing a huge jump in sales during this time of year.
In the Christmas season, what is a long season, because you have a lot of corporate orders, there's lots of corporate parties, and then you got right away into Valentine's.
They see this trend in sales because of special holiday-themed items they have to offer. Because who doesn't love a heart-shaped box filled with chocolate they can enjoy? Valentine's Day is not only about having a sweet tooth and sharing it with your sweetheart, it's also about going out for dinner and enjoying your night. Many restaurants have special menus for today that they don't normally have, so it makes your restaurant experience even better. One restaurant that has partaken in this event is the SAIT-owned Highwood.
So today we're doing a 4-course set menu for $85 per person. We did like a little bit of a market research to see what our competitors are doing, so we felt like $85 is the best bet.
Many people have their different ways to show people that they love them. Some people buy chocolate and flowers, but some people like to have stuff come right from the heart.
And I made my girlfriend a heart out of metal by melting around it. It was neat.
So what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Maybe if you're last minute, this gave you some ideas. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Katie Rebagliati.
And those are today's top stories. We'll have your full forecast after the break. But first, Alex McLeod has a look at what's going on around the Calgary this week.
Will you accept this rosé? The Calgary Wine Fest is a can't-miss event for wine lovers. Enjoy a wide variety of wines, from red and white to sparkling. There's something for everyone. Bottoms up. Do you want to throw it back to the 2000s? Dickens is hosting an Anthems of the 2000s party. Grab your apple-bottom jeans, boots with the fur, and get low, low, low. Looking to burn the energy another way? All Sport One City provides beginner sport lessons for those of all ages. Try your hand at yoga, gymnastics, or even underwater hockey. Do you want to take a plunge into fishing? This weekend is Alberta's free family fishing weekend. Anglers of all ages can try fishing without having to purchase a sport fishing license. Animal lovers, head down to the Wildlife Festival. You can see a sloth, the world's largest porcupine, or hug a boa constrictor. Just make sure he doesn't hug you too tight.
Welcome home. What took you so long? Every single Wednesday, Rumble House hosts an open house auction for their community to auction off their artwork. Beginner or experienced, Rumble House invites artists of all skill levels to participate in their weekly events.
To get involved in our events, call or text 403-629-7424.
403-629-7424.
Or check us out on Facebook for more information.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry-standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is Broadcast News. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back and happy Valentine's Day. Love is in the air and so are the clouds. Let's take a look at the west side of the country. In Vancouver, we do have the sun shining through, but we do also have a jet stream coming up in the northern part of the province, pushing east. And it is kind of pushing that nicer weather towards us, but kind of once we get down into Regina, it is a little bit chillier. Heading over towards the east side of the country, we also do have two special weather statements. So in Toronto, there is a wind warning, so we will experience some wind early tomorrow morning, but in St. John's, there's a special winter warning. So they're gonna see like 30 to 40 centimeters of snow, also up to 80 to 100 kilometers of wind. So definitely for me, I know I'm putting on the sunscreen and heading south of the border to the resorts. Let's check it out. It's a beautiful day south of the border. Palm Springs is sitting at 18 degrees with a wind warning. Barbados and Honolulu both have partly cloudy skies, but that isn't stopping the heat. The sun is shining in Cancun and Orlando. Both are sitting at 26 degrees. Las Vegas is 12 degrees with a wind warning. It is currently -4 degrees in Calgary, and we are experiencing some partly cloudy skies. The wind is coming in from the northeast at about 5 kilometers an hour, and coming up later this week, we will see some sunshine. Looking at our province though, looking up in Fort McMurray, it is our cold point at -13 degrees, and as we go down, there is a jet stream coming from the north of the province heading south, so it will kind of push that colder weather towards us later tonight. But so far with Banff at that -2, perfect time to go out snowshoeing, snowboarding, whatever it is you like doing in the winter. So looking at the 5-day forecast, we can kind of see definitely tonight that chance of flurries coming in with a low of -11. But looking on later into the week with tomorrow and Thursday, we do have the sun coming back out. Friday, kind of hiding behind the clouds again, but Saturday, sun back out. So definitely looking forward to that. Good time to get out, do some sports, and after the break, we'll take a look at the sports with Spencer Milkey.
I used to hear voices. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. I don't matter. Walked around in circles, didn't know where to go. Until I found my purpose. Through people that helped me live a better life and build a better future. Now I could finally see that I'm able, capable, and worthy.
Come and learn the fast-paced world of television production. Find your passion to write, shoot, edit, and direct news, sports, and dramatic productions. With industry-standard technology and the best instructors in the business, SAIT's television production program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in broadcasting. This is television production. Come and dare to be on air.
Welcome back to SAIT Newsfile. Spencer Milkey joins us now for a look at the latest highlights in sports. What can we expect, Spencer?
Well, there's a massive tournament in squash down at Bow Valley Square. But first, we'll take a look at our Trojans. The Trojans were jam-packed last weekend, with the men's and women's teams facing off in volleyball, basketball, and hockey. The women's volleyball took charge against the King's University Eagles as they took the match in 4 sets. Meanwhile, the men took the first set but then dropped the next 3, losing in 4. The women's basketball team stuck in the game but lost due to Alyssa York's bench play. On the other hand, the men took care of the Eagles, winning decisively thanks to Marcus Masters' 5 3-pointers. Hockey was not the sport for either Trojan squads, as the women got shut out and the men lost by 4 to the U of A Augustana Vikings. The Trojans basketball and hockey will suit up again in a back-to-back starting Friday. The Flames took on the Ottawa Senators last night in an all-Canadian clash. Calgary is looking to sneak back into a playoff spot as the Pacific Division is tightening up. Just 6 minutes into the game, and a stretch feed from Stützle sends Brady Tkachuk in all alone, and he makes it no problem roofing it. That'd be Tkachuk's 21st on the season, as he's been on an absolute tear. The Flames would answer back as Dylan Dubé tips one past Sogard, tying the game. Fast forward to the second, and sniper Tyler Toffoli goes high glove side just as the power play clock expires. The Flames would add another one before the Senators decide to push as Drake Batherson shovels the puck into the net after a scramble in front. Unfortunately for the Flames, the Senators weren't done there, as Alex DeBrincat picks his spot and finishes it from a really tough angle. We would be headed to overtime as Noah Hannafin gets a break, but misses the net. The puck would get recovered by the Sens as DeBrincat sends Stützle in, and he will flutter one past Markstrom with the heavy defense all over him, winning it for Ottawa. The Sens take this one 4-3 as the Flames have now dropped 3 of their last 4 games. The Flames will be back home against the Detroit Red Wings Thursday. The Snow Rodeo finished up over the weekend after an exciting week of competition as many Olympic hopefuls have been training harder than ever. Maddie Mastro, who has suffered the fall the first day, broke her tibia and fibula and will be out for the foreseeable future. Continuing on the women's halfpipe, Canadian Elizabeth Hosing couldn't quite catch on to Ono Mitsuki as she finished in second. Unfortunately, Canadian hopeful Derek Livingston couldn't quite catch up after his first run in the men's halfpipe qualifiers. No Canadian men would even qualify for the halfpipe finals. This competition puts those winners in elite standings as they are training hard for the next Winter Olympics in Italy. The Oxford Properties Canadians Men Open Squash Tournament kicked off at Bow Valley Square on Monday afternoon. Colton Pankew was able to get down and take in what is a very exciting and unique event.
I just pushed a little too hard off the wall, landed deep, so I just gotta finesse it, try and find that happy sweet spot. You know, there's a lot of speed in there today, so I'm not too worried about getting the tricks around, but just gotta try and land smooth and.
Squash. It's a sport not many of us are all that familiar with, but it is certainly intense. The opening match between Andrew Douglas and Faraz Khan had both players hitting some incredible shots throughout. Ultimately, Douglas would get the last laugh, as he was able to win in straight games to reach round 2 of the event. Despite appearing to be in full control for the majority of the match, Douglas admitted that playing in a much different climate than he is used to in his home of Denver made things a little bit more difficult for him.
I think I got used to the court, which is great. It's at altitude here in Calgary, so the ball plays a bit differently. Just the air is a bit thinner, so the ball travels differently, and also physically it's a bit harder to breathe.
With the win, Douglas is set to take the court again later this afternoon, this time facing Joel Mackin. It certainly won't be an easy one given that Mackin is currently the number 2 seed, but Douglas seemed confident that he can pull out a victory if he plays the way he did Monday. One particularly interesting thing about this event is that it takes place in the middle of a mall. It is quite different compared to other squash tournaments that these athletes are used to competing in, but doing so helps make room for spectators. Yesterday's opener between Douglas and Cause saw roughly 50 people in attendance.
You want more people to be able to see it. I mean, this is for the general population. People are always encouraged to buy tickets, but along the top, people can come stop by, take a look, see if it's for them. It's just a fun sport, and it's sometimes been deemed an elitist sport, but it's really not.
Though the sport of squash still isn't very big in Calgary, events like the Canada Games being hosted here at Bow Valley is helping grow attention to the sport. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Colton Pankew.
The under-17 Canadian soccer team is red hot as they face Barbados in the CONCACAF Championship Tournament. As kickoff was underway, Canada was dominating play, controlling the possession of play for the majority of the game. A shot by striker Ozemek was zipped in by Liam McKenzie past Barbados goalie, giving Canada the early lead. Look at him giving the hand heart to the crowd. So cute. Canada would push further as a Hail Mary ball resulted in a crash between Barbados goalie and Alessandro Bieo. Bieo would take the penalty shot and make 0 mistakes, sliding it into the bottom left corner. After the goal, the game would stay stagnant as neither team could get any more offense going, in part to some wicked save by Barbados down the stretch. Canada would take this one 2-0 as they advanced to the round of 16 after winning their previous game against Trinidad and Tobago as well. The tournament will run through February 26th. Many NBA teams are getting used to playing with new players after the trade deadline. This includes the Dallas Mavericks. They took on the Timberwolves last night. Starting in the first, we are seeing flashes of what Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving can do as he zips one to Irving, who finishes the layup. Irving also wanted to show his playmaking prowess as he lobs one up and Christian Wood finishes the Statue of Liberty dunk. Unfortunately for the Mavs, Anthony Edwards was showing why he deserves to be an all-star, and he drains a three, increasing the Timberwolves' lead. Going into halftime, Edwards was feeling himself as he crossed back and splash, hits the contested mid-range. In the dying seconds, the Mavs were trying to push for the comeback as a rebound pops to Irving, who drains another three. With 10 seconds to go, the suffocating defense of the Timberwolves was out, as the superstar backcourt couldn't even get a shot off in the dying seconds. Minnesota takes this one. Irving did all he could with 26 fourth quarter points, but they couldn't pull off the win. The Mavericks will suit up against Denver tomorrow night. And that's all we have for sports.
Wow, there's so many things really are going on, like especially with Canada, first FIFA and now CONCACAF. Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for sports. And after the break, the coffee lovers will expand their horizon as we'll get to see how coffee is made in Vietnam.
Come and learn the breaking world of broadcast news. Find your passion to investigate, write, shoot, edit, and deliver the stories of the day. SAIT's broadcast news program teaches you everything you need to know for a career in radio and television. Become the next great anchor, reporter, or personality using industry standard technology alongside qualified instructors with years of experience. This is broadcast news. Come and dare to be on air.
Winter is here and nothing is better than starting off with a day with a great hot beverage. If a shot of espresso is not enough, Vietnamese coffee can give you a quadruple kick of energy. Zoe Tran has more to say about the cultural sip of Vietnamese daily life in her report.
Each country has its own way of enjoying coffee. For the Vietnamese, coffee drinking is truly a unique and spectacular experience.
So with Vietnamese coffee, we typically have it with condensed milk, or we can also serve it black. We use a Vietnamese coffee filter, basically, and we have the coffee beans in there, and we pour hot water, and it drips into the cup, and it takes about 10 minutes to make, and that's what makes it like special, where we kind of slow down, and we kind of get to enjoy the process of like watching it, smelling the aromas of the coffee brewing.
The Vietnamese believe the slow art of drip coffee has influenced their coffee culture.
It is all about appreciating the process of coffee brewing and engage in a good conversation. It is for people of all age and all class, and it brings people together.
In Vietnam, it's not difficult to see a group of people sitting on the sidewalk and enjoying coffee while chatting with their friend. And although drinking coffee on the sidewalk isn't popular here, but we can still meet with other friends or family or like partner to sit and chat and sip a cup of coffee at any Vietnamese restaurant here, or maybe we can make it at home and gather together, drink it together and chat it with each other.
Slowing down and savoring the moment, Vietnamese coffee culture is just as rich and interesting as the drink itself. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Zoe Tran.
Gosh, I cannot wait to have that cup of coffee myself. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.